I wouldn't say it was my bad subject. It
Mhm.
was my good subject. So
See, when you looked at audit, you clearly saw you performed a lot better than what you have expected, right? That's what happened.
yes, yes,
So the whole
yes.
point of this is, as I told you, when you're looking at four different papers, you cannot decide completely the outcome. So when you're looking at king subject, queen subject, pawn and bishop, that is helpful in terms of preparation. Now already your law and audit are reversed, right? Law you're supposed to do in a reasonably good manner. Audit you are okay with doing okayish, but they completely swap. But right now you just have to look at if you balance, the first two papers and the next two papers, or 1 and 3 plus 2 and 4. Either way, you should be able to score 100 plus 100 plus, and overall you should be nearing that. For this attempt, what I can tell you is, if your evaluation is reasonably fine, if you are sensible about understanding your mistakes and what you have done good, there is a very good chance that you might score anywhere between 12 to 15 marks more than your calculation. So this paper is slightly tricky. So I would not say it's difficult. I would not say it's difficult for any of the papers. But having said that, sometimes you won't get that perfect satisfaction once you come back after the exam. You know that you have written something. You know that the questions are coming from certain topics. Some of the topics are repeated also, but there is some hesitation in your mind. So when that happens, normally the evaluation would be a bit reasonable. And these are the attempts, these are the exams where you end up scoring more. And that personally happened to me across all levels, CS, EWCS, all three levels. There are some papers, 1 or 2 papers, where I would not get complete satisfaction. In those papers, whatever
Mm-hmm.
I would generally mark X amount of marks, it will always get a bit better. So that normally happens. So overall, first, checklist or first criteria, if you have attempted more than 360 to 380 overall across all papers, you are in a decent zone. That's a decent zone in general. 10 marks here and there is totally fine, but overall your attempt should be 360 to 380. This is the first criteria. And second thing, if you have consistently followed the weekly exam, because for all the students who are writing the first exam today, example for law, if they haven't written any full length mock, if they're writing it only today, it would be really difficult for him even to cross 75 marks in terms of attempt, because paper was very lengthy. So it's
Mm-hmm.
reasonably easy, but it's lengthy, right? So how would you get accustomed to that? If you remember, even that was the last tip which I gave students before going, like, finish off whatever it is. So everybody, the best strategy is like, it's okay, even if you miss out 1 2 points. In your mind, you want to write 10 points. Now the paper gets lengthy. What would you do? You discount it, 3 points, nikal do. So when you write 10
Yes.
points, if you're getting 3.5, if you write 7 points, you'll get 3. But then
Mm-hmm.
the additional 5 minutes you can utilize for scoring the next 1 2 marks in the next answer, right? So
But your voice
this
is
will
lagging.
automatically happen when you choose to set a strong target of, is it still lagging for others also? Am I audible,
No, it's
guys?
fine. It's fine right now.
Okay. So, Rish, so overall, what's your total number of marks attempted for all the four papers?
Sir, in the FR paper, 1 8 marks I could not attempt. Only
Hmm.
1 8 marks I could not attempt. Rest all I
Hmm.
attempted. In the
Hmm.
SFM, I attempted it whole, the whole paper.
Hmm. Hmm.
In audit also, I attempted whole.
Yes.
In the law, I also attempted whole, but in 10 to 12 marks, I would say 10 to 15 marks, I would say that I didn't know well, and I just wrote
Hmm.
whatever I could according to my knowledge.
Hmm.
So I wasn't sure. I'm not sure about that.
Okay.
Maybe I can get 1 or 2 or 2 to 3 marks. I'm not sure
Hmm.
about that. But about the other part, I'm pretty sure that yeah, I've written well about that. What I knew.
Wonderful. Okay. In terms of your, experience with these four papers, what are the three things that went really well?
The strategy part.
Hmm.
In the first paper, it wasn't that much of good, but in
Hmm.
second paper,
Hmm.
I got used to it. That
Hmm.
yeah, I have to do it. In the third
Hmm.
paper, it was brilliant. Like my choice of
Can,
questions
can you
was
elaborate
really
on
good.
what worked for you? Because there are some students who are writing their second group also. I want to make this useful for them. So when you mentioned strategy part, what specifically worked?
In the theory parts, basically,
Hmm.
in the after the first hour itself, like you
Hmm.
also said that you have to jump to
Hmm.
MCQ. After
Right.
you're done with at least two
Hmm.
questions, You have to jump to MCQ even if you don't know one or two parts of the two questions that you have already attempted. You have to skip to MCQ. So I just skipped to that. Even if in today's exam also, I didn't know one part of each of the two questions which I attempted. So I just left some space for it so that I will complete it later on. I just switched on to the MCQ part. And in the MCQ also, I coded this thing that you don't have to read the case study most of the time. Most of the questions can be answered even without studying the case study also.
True.
And you can save that time so that you can invest that time in answering those questions in which you find that they are tricky to you. They will be given allocated more time. So I can save my time. So I just did an analysis so that this was actually a good thing which I noticed, and it could save a lot of time.
Perfect. Guys who are writing the second group also, please note down this point. That is extremely crucial because right now it sticks in your mind because you'll be able to correlate. Point number one, answer MCQs, especially for DET and IDT. You can expect reasonably lengthy papers. You'll have some tough time finishing the papers. Okay. So the first important part is the sweet spot is between 75 to, I would say, 120 minutes, around that, if you could, because exact first hour it will be difficult to start. So somewhere around 75 to 120, you can write 80 to 120 minutes. Between that, if we attempt MCQs, that will be a very good time because your mind is also active. The moment if MCQ is the first question you are starting, your mind would not get loaded because once you start writing some answers, there is some recall function happening. Okay, this is the first point. Yes, valid point. This is what you can do. And please follow this strictly. Don't apply creativity and don't create random solutions at the last minute because the paper is meant to pressurize you. The paper is meant to put you in a corner, which will make you to take random decisions. That is exactly what you should be avoiding. Okay, that's a very valid point. What's the next one? What is the next one? Yeah.
The next point, which I would generally say, like in this paper, when it was considerably lengthy, so I just see there's a format for answering a theoretical question, which I've noticed that first of all, you have to write the provision, then you have to explain the case, then you have to conclude it. But in the 3 marks question, which I'm getting, that I don't have to explain it that much. I can do the analysis and the result part combined.
That's it.
I just make
That's
it
a good
in
one.
2 lines.
Yes.
I just explain the case in 2 lines and then correlated it simultaneously also, and then give the result that this is invalid or this is valid or whatever it is.
Perfect.
So that was one question. And in the SFM part, which I noticed that you almost get theory marks of 4 marks each in every question. You can leave the space for it. If you are not sure that about all the points, you can leave the space. Probably 1 page can be left for it, and you can attempt the practical part, so that you don't have to waste your time thinking about it, because that's a thinking process. If you're not remembering it, at least try to score, try to complete it much before the time, because then you will be left with ample amount of time to think about it. That yeah, this amount of points, and whenever you are just remembering it, just write a short note in the question paper itself, or like a keyword, like for example, whatever you may think, like this is audit or any mnemonics which you have made, like integrity, objectivity, competence, whatever the points you are calling. Even if you're writing another question, if you're getting you can write that. So I just wrote that also. If I was getting that, yeah, I'm getting this point, then that could be applicable, even if I could not remember it at that point of time. So I just write it so that I can recall it once I attempt it.
So how many of you here are writing your second group also? Can I get some quick responses? If you're writing group 2, please type group 2 in the chat box. I just want to understand. Okay. All right. So all five of you can quickly type the number of marks you have attempted in group 1. First, I'll send you off in the next 5 minutes so that you can restart your studies. I'll give you some quick insights. Then I'll continue the conversation with the rest of these guys. So, okay, that's great. That's great. Rajdev, you don't have to worry at all. Yeah. Others, what about others? Wonderful. Nanavel, you have to be a bit cautious. Yeah. Abhi, okay. Okay, both of you need to be, touching 400. Almost you have to attempt everything. In group 2, that's reasonably possible. Yeah. 350. That's a very wide range. I do not understand. How can it be 30 marks? You should clearly know how much you've attempted. Why is it a bracket? It's not a numerator, right? Clearly tell me how much you have attempted. Okay, so I guess overall it's a decent one, because even if you mark 45%, that takes you closer to the, I would say, 185, 190 stand. And as much as I said that you should not depend on group 2, but right now, even if you're slightly worried, there is still a chance for you to redeem yourself because of 2 powerful papers in group 2. One is your IDT, the other one is elective. Okay, so the gap which is existing in group 1 can still be filled by group 2. So in your mind, if you're slightly worried that, okay, group 1 did not happen, the way you wanted, whatever it is, as I said, you can add 10 to 15 marks in terms of your expectation. You can rely upon this. And the other part also, don't let your group 1 mess up group 2. Even assuming that you did not do well in group 1, you can still go ahead and clear group 2, right? So this is the single most important point I wanted to drive for you. So don't let it affect you. What you have to do is, it's a fresh start. Like, for example, consider this, for example, like your second attempt. Group 1 is your first attempt, this is second attempt. So after first attempt, what are the quick things? These are fresh in your mind. Point number 1, which has worked. All these points, go and repeat it. There are some points which did not work and which needs to be improved. All of them strictly avoided. That is the reason why I wanted you to write all of this in a piece of paper. And you have, see, the problem with this is, if you capture information without applying or without having specific insights, while you should have a do's and don'ts list before you go to the exam. And this is absolutely specific and customized for your individual needs. Okay, so you should be clearly having all these insights while you're going to write your next exam. Now, coming to SCMB, time shortage would not be a significant problem. So if you are reasonably comfortable in your elective, please go through SCMP entirely. And I would recommend you to write those 90-minute exams. If you remember, I would have said it more than 90 times. So this is the only reason, because you would notice that most of the questions you will be familiar. While your preparation, as I mentioned, that 5% rule, even if you leave out 95%, the exam will only test 5% of the questions, right? Total out of the entire bulky books, only 5 or 6 questions are being asked. So that you are clear. Now, what is the only constraint which you would have faced? In terms of attempting what you already know, nobody is complaining that it did not know this. You know this, you feel that you should have written it better. You feel that you would have answered more. You feel that you could have got another half an hour time, right? It could have been solved by that one simple habit of practicing writing every single day, or at least in the last 15 days, no matter what you have done earlier. So let's not repeat it for the second group. So next one week, have the habit of writing 190-minute test, or alternately, while revising, make sure you're using your hand. In your exam, it should not be the first time you're trying to recall a question, or it should not be the first time you're trying to recall a point. Okay, so keep your hand as a powerful tool. Don't rely on your brain. So there is some muscle memory attached to it. I'm not explaining the complete scientific logic around it, but you should have written it already before you write it in the exam. Okay, this is where we land. In terms of the strategy, SCMB 50 to 55 would be a good score. The next paper, 60 to 65. These two papers together, anywhere between 110 to 120. Then DT, it's like audit, right? The paper 3 in group 1 and paper 3 in group 2 are almost of the same nature. So that even if something goes up and down in DT, you still have IDT where you can go and work upon. So the first 2 exams are the most important, and the first 2 exams you have decent time of additional 1 day. So please go ahead and leverage it clearly. Before you leave, if you have any specific questions, I'm giving preference to the group 2 students. So if you have any specific questions based on your experience in group 1, or any queries which you quickly want to get resolved, you can please unmute yourself and ask me anything. So any specific question?
Hi, sir.
Yes.
So nothing to ask, but then one thing to say is thank you. I don't know what will be the result, but this is the time when I have attempted almost only today's paper. That too 4 marks was just because I was not able to recollect what was the section or what was the provision. But then I have attempted almost all the questions, and
Yes, yes.
so that was the best for me. And yeah, it went. I will not say now because I don't know. Like I have some.
Understand. Mm-hmm.
It will all be. I hope it will be seen in the result.
Definitely, and you have a fantastic advantage of completing and covering the syllabus because you are one of the sincere guys from the day one. So, in case whenever you are slightly having any constraint in terms of time, so move your pattern of answering in bullet points. So, because at the end of the day, what you think is important is not as important from the examiner's perspective. As long
Yes.
as the examiner understands that you know the answer, no, the substance and the form aspect comes over, especially for a tax, direct tax and indirect tax. There is nothing theoretical about it, right? You don't have to write any extended or expansive long English, as in the case of auditor law. So that is something which you can leverage. But otherwise, I don't think we would face all these issues since you already went to a very close level last time. So
And
yes, you'll do
plus,
well.
or another thing is that like I have a very bad habit. Like every day I come from the exam, at least one time I check my paper, like whether I did anything, tremendous wrong or something like that, and or something which I'm not feeling comfortable about, and I tend to count the marks as well, which I suppose I get or something like that, but. I don't know. That gives me some confidence because in the last paper audit after that I came and then I
Rajdeep, that is something which is strictly avoided. So there are something which we feel like doing. As long as they go good, they're really fine. But the danger is you're wasting literal time. There is no point in doing it. So that is something which I'm saying strictly avoid. So that is for a larger group of students. If they have to stick to a rule, that is what it is. Because one of the exams, if you discover that there is a 4 marks which you know where you went wrong subsequently, because in the exam and after the exam, your mind is clear and you'll be able to identify a lot of mistakes. So that is a pointless exercise. If you want to do it, you can do it at your own risk. But I don't recommend it to any students. Any sensible guy would say it. Okay. So continue the momentum, continue the tempo. Please go ahead and make sure you cross the finish line this time. All the very best. Yes. Anyone? Anything else?
So,
Yes. Tanuja, go ahead.
yeah. So, overall, the papers were good. Like, I'm quite satisfied with what I have written.
Mhm.
But so, what problem happened with me was like, I actually the answers clicked to me and that in those 15 minutes.
Right.
I try to just write it. I have done this for SFM theory things, also for audit and also for law. In all the three papers, the supervisor has messed with me. Like he has changed my paper. In the
Right.
middle of the paper, like at 3:30, 3 o'clock, like he has changed my paper. For audit also and for law, also
Right.
he did this.
Right.
And like they were like, telling me like if you do this, we will debar you from here and all that. So I don't know why they were telling me like this. Because sir, in the middle of the paper when I'm there, I could not recall much. But in those 15 minutes, I could recall everything which I have studied. So
Right.
that happened.
See,
Otherwise, sir, paper were
I understand. Basically, initially when I cleared CA, at that point of time, the cases like this were pretty low. Fundamentally, because people are okay. They are considering it as a combined time. At that point of time, my strategy for utilizing this 15 minutes was completely different. So I would also recommend the same, where you can jot down as many points as you can on the question paper, and then would be easy for you to pick up and answer all the five. But right now, the way we are proceeding here is only focus on two questions at a time, then write two questions, then two questions, then one question. That is exactly why we are going. So this is the exact risk which I wanted to avoid, because even if you process everything, it may or may not happen, but the invigilator has all the authority to do that, because in the 15 minutes is only thinking time, not writing time. So when he sees that, it would be, even let's say a student has subsequently written it, not in the first 15 minutes, even then it would be tough for the student to convince that he has actually written it otherwise. So normally, point number one, 15 minutes, nothing should be written. Point number two, even in general, a lot of invigilators prefer that you're not writing anything on the question paper. What if you exchange it with some other students or whatever it is? So they are right in their capacity. Probably luck wasn't on your side. Otherwise, you would have saved another 15-20 minutes in terms of taking things. But that's okay. You're able to pick up things fast. So next time, instead of, I'll tell you a hack. Let's say if you're processing it, if you're looking at the question, if you're getting instant points, flip the answer sheet. You have some rough work, right? You just write question number one, write all the points. So that space, invigilator would not, examiner would not be interested. That's up to you. If you are slightly concerned, just make those points in a neat manner, like short. So that is a space which is officially authorized for you. And again, for you to do this, you have to process only 1 or 2 questions at a time. That's how it goes. But yeah, they have that right. There's nothing we can do about it. Yes. Okay. Yeah.
Sir, I wanted to ask something. I wanted to actually add something, considering the point which Tanuja also asked, that about the jotting down the points. I when I attempted all of the theory questions, especially, I just wrote it very little font, like
Right.
1 or 2 words,
Right.
so that I don't have to write all of the word, but just that much that only I can see. No one else can see.
Right.
Even if it is not visible, it's like a circle.
Yes.
It looks like a circle, but it is not a circle. It is my own language, like kind
Right.
of this thing.
Right.
I did that mostly in these theoretical papers like audit and law, like just one word. One word is not a whole sentence. So how could you say? And in a very little font, I just wrote. So that could also be one of the hacks, like
That's yeah.
writing it out.
You're absolutely right about it. And in fact, even that could be taken out. But the whole game is if you look at how we have done revision, if there is a particular sentence, or if there is content of 1 hour, how would you compress it 10 times? Like 10%, 10%, 10%, 100% should come to 1%. So your hack, you're using it almost like a mnemonic, so that you don't have to write anything significant, but by using one word, you'll be able to recall everything. We call it trigger words. So that trigger will help you to recall everything. Now, this would not happen automatically. You should, in the preparation itself, in your mind, there should be some work done already, so that you will be able to use that. It's not a skill which can be instantly applied in the examination. But yes, you're right about it. That can be done. But either way, the safer bet is to jot. If you want to write a summary answer looking at the question, you can use the rough work. That would be a better space for you to use it. Yeah, thank you. Who else?
So can I say something?
Please. Yes.
So the papers were overall above average for me, I would say. Starting with FR, I attempted around only 85 marks. But when I attempt the questions, I would say I focus much more on the quality itself. So that's why I was able to attempt only 85 marks of FR. Moving on to SFM, I attempted, I guess, of 92 marks.
Right.
And of audit, 96. And today's law, I guess, at around 85.
85.
So what I try to focus, or that might be my mistake as well, I don't know. So that's why I'm trying to share it with you. So what I try to do is, in the first hour itself, I try to cover the two questions which I know the most. But it always spills over a bit. It goes around till I would say 3:30 at times. So what happens over there is, these two questions take way too much of time. When I concentrate on collecting my marks, most of my marks from these two questions. So eventually it affects the completion of papers of mine. Even though I'm pretty much confident about what I have written in the paper, at the end, the quality plus the quantity also helps you. So my FR, SFM, and audit were pretty much good.
Mhm.
Today's paper, it was a bit tricky, I would say, not that difficult, but
Right.
yeah, it was a decent paper.
Abhi, I have only one thing to say. I think even in the last couple of discussions before the exam, in terms of syllabus coverage, you have done a good job. Especially even after there was a break because of some personal issue, and then you bounce back, you did good amount of coverage of syllabus. The only thing which you would really improve is you're a bit hesitant. There is some internal resistance which is blocking you to operate freely. It's like you should start hitting freely. Otherwise, if you're trying to play the defensive mode, it is only counterproductive. That is what I'm trying to tell you. And between you writing a fantastic answer in fantastic 2 answers in 90 minutes versus you writing reasonably good answers in 60 minutes, there would not be any difference. There would not be any difference. So you need to get rid of the decoration and you need to understand the time constraints very, very, very clearly. Otherwise, why would I repeat the same thing hundreds of times? When I say that you have to complete 40 marks in the first hour, 40 marks in the first hour. And if you're taking so much time for the questions which you know, that implies you don't know those questions. What do you mean by you know a question? It means you don't have to spend any time on recalling it because you already know it. Now, if you're spending so much time, what's the fun? Because as I told you, if you have to attend the paper in 4 hours, you can even think about questions which you're not comfortable with. So what you're saying and what you're doing is slightly counterproductive. The reason is you need to analyze this because you're either not choosing the right set of questions or you're just bothered about that unneeded perfection, which may or may not add a lot of significant value. Unless you're saying that I scored 70 to 75% of the first two questions, which is a bit unlikely. It might happen. I might be wrong, but that is something which I would like you to look into, especially you have direct taxation, you have indirect taxation. So you have to be really on your toes. There, no, not even a single inch of deviation, straightforward hit 40 and then move on. And you have to, the best way of clearing any of these papers ideally is, even without depending on the MCQ, you should be clearing it. So when you have to do that, you have to complete it in 2 hours and score those 40. So go in that zone, and timeline has to be strict. In your mind, you have to be clear. You're just being casual about it. That is the only correction which I'm giving. And in general, trust yourself. Let's say you're getting a point, write it. You don't have to think about it and scrutinize it too much, right? Because you have to play aggressive. So that 20 marks. See, I'll tell you why I'm okay with 380 is, there is no way that somebody could write 100 marks. Even if they say that I have attempted 100 marks, but 4 or 5 marks are just naam ke vaste answers. That is how it happens. From 92 to 900, it is always the case. In your case, if somebody says 360, in my mind, I look at it 380 because you're just being honest that you're not counting that, even though you've written it, or you just left it because why to write something random? So 360 to 380 is almost the same, but still, I appreciate the intent of writing. Trying to write something which they're not really comfortable with. Sometimes it will work. So that is the reason why I'm pushing you towards that ultimate barrier, right? So in your only 2 things. Number 1, increase the speed, start with intensity. If you're talking about touching 40 marks in 90 minutes, then you are spending, you're hitting 60 marks in the next 90 minutes, right? That is the reason why you're stopping at 50. You're not able to write 60. You understood? So it's a simple correction which you have to make. And whatever you get in your mind, just act a bit aggressively. This is what you have to do.
Sure,
okay. So now I wanted to go back and start studying for your group 2. Okay.
Yes, sir.
And
Thank
probably between one of the exams, we can catch up. Like 1-to-1, if you want something on a specific topic, you can
yes,
ping
sir.
me.
Sure.
We'll see. Okay. Yeah.
Sure, sir. Okay.
Yes, Nish. Nish, you are not audible. Am I audible to you? Yeah.
Yes, sir. You're audible.
Yes. Tell me.
So meanwhile, can I go?
Pardon?
Meanwhile, can I go?
Yeah, Nish, I'll get back to you in a minute. You should check your audio once. Yeah. Yeah, go ahead, Devesh.
Sir, firstly, I'm having one question about elective exam. that there was a doubt in my center that whether we are allowed to, carry the book with sticky notes while studying for 6D.
Yes, yes,
What
yes.
happens is we stick sticky notes on it. So last time it happened they told us to remove those notes. So there was a bit argument as well with the invigilator, and all the faculties are also in favor of us. We should be allowed to stick the notes and carry it to the exam. So can you provide some clarity on that?
No matter, I'll tell you, Devesh, no matter what I say, no matter what one central council member might say, on the day of the exam, if somebody is stopping you, there's nothing can be done. Retrospectively, probably you can get an apology from them, but then your exam is gone. So these 10% factors, let's say somebody might give the paper 5 minutes late. It could be a reality. So these are also forming part of it. Normally, there should not be a restriction because IC has not said anything in that direction, because you can carry any type of learning material along with you. Ideally, this should not. Probably they might be afraid that it is easy to transfer from one student to other, or they might be thinking in a different perspective. So that we don't have control, irrespective of what I say right now. So be okay, just carry it. If somebody wants it, give it up. That's it. That's how it goes.
Okay. And sir, talking about my exams, they were not up to the mark, I would say. And I don't know, really. I'm not feeling that much confident to be clearing.
See,
to be very honest.
Right from the beginning, this is your first attempt, right?
Yeah.
This is your first attempt, and you really wanted to understand the game. You really wanted to know how it is working. So,
Yes,
as I said, for student with X amount of capability, it will take X amount of time. Now, if this exists 2 months or if this exists 3 months, we don't know. That is something we don't know, because there is a good chance that it might have gone. As long as you are putting in the best of the efforts, as long as you did everything you think you could have done, that's it. There's nothing much that can be done. So don't worry about it, because the whole part is this last couple of months can be accelerated if you entirely complete the syllabus, either through coaching or either because of the previous attempt, or either you have done something. There it will be easy to compress. For you have to figure out a lot of things. The number of things which you have to figure out, the number of things which you have to process will be too many. So even though if you're doing everything right, it's just a quantum of time.
Yes.
So that is the reason you don't have to be harsh on yourself. So right from the day one, you have been asking the same question. I'm saying the same thing.
Yes.
So don't be harsh.
I know that.
You have done a good job. You have done a good job in terms of efforts. So let's hope for the best. Even if others, that's okay. This is a stepping stone, right? So it's simple, Devesh. At some point of time, you have to cross 400. Now, for that to happen, it's like a practice match. Ideally, sometimes it just goes. Sometimes you fall short. But instead of staying at 0, even if you end up at 360, at 380, 320, जो भी है, next time आपको क्या लगता है मन पे? You just have to cover those remaining distance, because your base becomes 340 instead of 0. So that is what you have to keep in mind. That's okay.
Towards the end, sir, I was feeling like I'm trying to eat so much, but whether I would be able to digest that, that was the question.
Yes.
So at the end, it was becoming too much to remember.
So that's what it is. If something which is being done in 6 months, if it is being done in 3 months, there is a factor of efficiency. But it's like, let's say you did not eat for 3 days, and day 4 you'll feel hungry, but the digestion becomes a problem, right? This is the reason why we say you should start early. In fact, the people who are watching it for the next attempt should understand that now is the time they should take a decision about next attempt, not in next April or next February. So that in that perspective, yes, what you said makes sense. Okay. Yeah, Dinesh.
And sir, I'll be attempting elective.
Yes, definitely.
Go for it. Just going for elective only.
No. See, when you're going, go to clear. What happens retrospectively, then you can decide. You're good. Don't write just an attempt. You always have a chance. Just like you always have a chance to fail, you always have a chance to pass. Both cannot be determined. Since you have another 4 days, just go with the mentality that you're going to clear it. Then see what happens. Good. All the best. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, Nish. Is it fixed? Is it sorted? No. What's happening? Prashant, you want to add something? You're right, Abhilash. It depends on the center. No matter what rules we make, it still depends on the center.
Okay, sir. The best thing is that if I हिंदी में बोल सकता हूँ सर.
ठीक है, yeah, please.
ऐसा है कि सबसे बेस्ट जो काम किया है, लास्ट डे वही पढ़ के जाना है जो स्टार्टिंग में पढ़ा हमने 1 दिन या 1.5 दिन. लास्ट दिन सिर्फ वही, वो बहुत बड़ा कॉन्फिडेंस देता है सर. एकदम माइंड में क्लिक करता रहता है और वही लिखता है. और अपने को पता होता है कि पेपर में इस चैप्टर से इसी पोर्शन से आएगा, और वो लास्ट डे सर बहुत काम आता है, वही काम आता है. बाकी जितना भी पढ़ के जाओ सब बेकार, वही काम आता है.
It's not like that, but yeah, see, it has some relatively more importance. See, what happens is, because of your 1.5 months before,
नहीं सर, वही स्टेप काम आता है सर. मतलब इतना प्रैक्टिस करके जाओ सब बेकार चला जाता है. अभी कुछ लोगों ने कहा भी इतना मेहनत कर रहे हैं, बट द थिंग इज कि आप लास्ट अगर 3 बार 4 बार एक ही चीज को पढ़ के जाओ ना सर, वो आ ही जाता है. और अपने को पता होता है कि इस चैप्टर से ही आना है, वो आता है, मजा आता है फिर सर.
Fine. I understand the essence. That's why I'm not arguing. Yes, you're right about it in a particular way, but there is more to it. Good, Prashant.
Yes.
So you wrote it well. All set.
बिल्कुल सर.
Perfect. Perfect. Good.
Already second group clear है, तो देखो सर क्या.
Wonderful. So I'll be adding CA or your name, and we'll meet once again. The results are out. Jab we'll have a different type of conversation, but I'm glad that you did it very well, and I saw your message. You're like super confident. That's what we expect from super students. Very good.
Okay,
Thank you. Okay. Yeah. Nish, sorted.
Am I audible, sir?
Yeah, you're making everyone eager. Like you're building that enthusiasm. What would you say? What would you say?
So my first 3 exams were pretty much my performance was above my expectations, to be honest. I was not sure that I would be able to write, but then the efforts which I put in over the past months, it really helped. SFM, I might score really well, like above 65 or something.
60 to 65 is that, yes.
Yeah. FR and audit, surprisingly, my practical exposure came into play, and I was able to really write the paper well. This is the first time I've attempted a theory paper for 96 marks. So, and audit, I mean, I've never expected audit to be that way, but then it really helped me. Today's paper was kind of tricky.
Yes.
But then I focused on the aspect where I wrote the questions which I knew perfectly first.
Yes.
I completed whatever I knew, I completed by 3:30. So I had ample time to think about what to do with the other. And MCQ also was kind of tricky, but then by reading it 2 to 3 times, I was able to at least make a gist and use elimination method to solve the MCQ.
Right.
Probability of clearing, yes, there are a lot of chances, but I don't know.
See, even without you writing your law exam, today your dad called me in the morning around 8 o'clock. He was discussing about my Faridabad session, and he was giving some feedback, and he liked the way things are going, and then I bought this topic. So we created a mark list the way we did for group 2. So the bucket for law is built in such a way that even in the worst case scenario, you'll get past it. Because in the first couple of papers, the way I'm looking at it, based on what you have said, you should hit 105 in the worst case scenario. Even if you look at 60 plus 55 or 65 plus 50, jo bhi hai, 105 is what you're looking at. Along with audit, it should cross 150 on a normal case scenario. And generally, based on how we looked at the group 2 in the previous attempt, like your estimates are reasonably conservative. Happens is pretty low, and it has the same confidence on my estimates accordingly. So, as per that, we are looking at 205 to 215. That's what we are looking at. Like I don't have unrealistic expectations of you hitting exemptions and all of that. But given the work, given even the last mock you just sent me 1 week before the exam, right? So all of that, I think this is a sweet spot which you might hit. So all the very best for the result. Meanwhile, I think we should meet once again for the investment banking. A lot of other things I left out. So
Yes.
come down here. We'll have a conversation right here. Starting
Definitely.
early, and you maintain that for 3 to 4 months. Very happy. Played like a test match where people are not even able to play T20s. You're like, you played a fantastic match. So yeah, we'll take it forward. We'll figure out a lot of things, and I have a lot of assignments for you also. We'll catch up soon enough. Take rest whenever you're free. Just ping me. We'll meet up. Good.
Definitely. Yeah. Thank you.
Sure. Sakshi, yes.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
So, 3 of my papers were really good. SFM, FR, and all. I did not expect to be this good. I attempted almost 100 of the marks, and I
Wonderful.
feel like I did pretty well in that. Only law, as everyone, it was a little tricky, and I could attempt only 85 or 90 marks. But it was average only. So yes, I also hope that I clear this time. Let's hope for.
Perfect. So overall, you're satisfied with the slight disclaimer for law, which every student in India is having right now. Except for that, it's a decent attempt, went according to expectations. Everything worked for you?
From all the attempts I have given till date, starting from C, I faced the issue with the writing speed. I could not finish. I was always left with 10 to 15 marks. But this I completed 3 of the papers. I almost completed 3 of them. So I was really satisfied with my speed and the attention power actually. The speed only because I could retain and I could recall and I could write them. So I was really impressed by, I could not thank FTR enough. I was just, we are all the way during the exam cycles. Thank you so much, sir.
Perfect. So actually it's simple. See, any student who would have utilized at least 2 techniques, even 1 technique properly, they would clear the exam. There are a lot of people who listen to the sessions and they do not do anything about it. Then nothing is going to happen. So if they replicate the YouTube habits here, like where you listen to everything, get enthusiastic about it, and do nothing works. You should hold on to one thing at least. If you hold on to one thing, that itself will be good enough. Even if you are not doing FTR, but if you are at least doing the day-end revision directly every single day, that by doing across 3 to 4 weeks, it will automatically improve. Or if you're religiously writing the exam on Sunday and then filling the exam mistake tracker, even that would work. So any one technique would naturally work. And you are an example. Like we had that call 1 week before the exam, and hope whatever we discussed eventually happened, right? That's what I'm trying to tell you. So sometimes in that zone, we choose the worst case scenario, whereas the possibility for the best case scenario is more. It's a probability game. It's not some random motivation or not toxic positivity. When you put in some X efforts, the regular chances are that you might win it. It might go into a positive direction. So there it's a analytical mistake more than anything else. You're choosing the wrong option where you could choose the right option. But yes, happy for you. Good that you fought back and did a fantastic job. So what next, Sakshi? You're having your group 2 also?
No, sir. I cleared group 2.
Yes. So we will be, most likely meeting soon in a different capacity with 2 added letters.
I look forward to that, sir.
Perfect. Thank you, Sakshi. And by the way, for all of you, these exams are not exam from exam mistake tracker. Since you are tired, I did not get into technicalities today, but that is something which you should do, even if you clear, even if whatever happens, because now it will be fresh in your mind. So I want you to do it. Okay. So probably you can take some space today, but after that, I'm constantly carrying all the papers with me, but today I just want to neutralize you, and then next step will go into the technicalities. But in your mind, make sure you do it in the next couple of days. Okay, completely as it is. Only that can give you complete understanding of ICI evaluation between what you have written and what is actually happening. Cool. So this is, as I said, this is like a transition session. So you just understood that most of the students are on the same page, written something reasonably positive. Probably this is the best attempt, but then you're awaiting the next steps. So that is what it was. So there will be one more. Our next session will be on complete technicalities. So I'll ask you to bring out your question papers. We'll go through specific questions. Then we'll have we'll arrive at a path probability ratio. So that's going to be real. That's going to be real, and that is more data driven. So I'm not interested to make it positive for the sake of it. Whatever it is, it should be close to reality. So that for me to arrive at the path probability ratio, for you to understand what it is, because this is a very important decision, right? In your mind, at least you know that either you're going towards 200 or 160, whatever it is, you have to take a decision. Let's say if you're in the verge of clearing, probably should start preparing for different interviews, and you should start focusing on what is the next choice of career which you should get into. If that is not the direction which the PPR is indicating, you should look at where do I start, when do I start, and all of that. So these are all important questions. The game is not over until it is over. Like on the day, like you can only relax once you enter that company with a particular ID card, or you set up your own practice, or you set up your own venture. Joby, that is fine. This is just transition. This is just a small milestone. So exams are not the end of anything. Okay. I hope you got the context of the session. But today I'm leaving you. But again, I'm reminding you upfront. So don't get lazy. We definitely have to do this. That is a logical conclusion for us to understand. Even if you're written only group 1, especially this is far more important. Okay. So that we'll do it in detail. And apart from this, yes, that's what it is. I understand. You're ultra tired. Even the same with me. And also your brain has to slightly stabilize, otherwise you cannot even understand, you cannot even process information. Probably you need a good night's sleep, right? But probably 12 to 14 hours, probably you'll wake up day after tomorrow. That's what is going to happen. Apart from this, anything else you want from our side? So this will take care of this will take care, and we'll also have a session on what are the other things which you can do, the skills to be picked up. We'll cover all of that. But apart from that, something which is needed in the near vicinity for all the people who have written this group 1. Any quick expectations or anything you would need from my side? Or any other questions which you have? Okay, so from my end, the next 2 sessions, number 1, we'll look into the technicalities, we'll arrive at the pass probability ratio. That is number 1. Number 2, for the people who have a pass probability ratio of more than 80%, how they should be utilizing the remaining days until the results are out. So we will have at least 50-55 days. Yes, we'll do it, Rish. We'll do it. So yeah, as I mentioned, this will have a complete focus, because it's not just about reading the book. There is a lot more to it. Yes, we'll do it. In fact, yesterday I had the privilege of going to Faridabad as a faculty for the faculties of ICA. So a lot is happening over there. I'm part of the expert group nominated by the Board of Studies, which is revamping the entire sector. There's a lot of things happening. So the direction in which the board is going on, the direction in which the changes are happening, it's very dynamic. So you'll be ultra proud of getting your certificate. That is the direction which we are going. And most importantly, people from IIMs and ISB have that extra tag, right? Okay, I'm a graduate, I'm from IIT and all that. So that recognition we are going to get as chartered accountants also. So you have to be definitely ready for that moment. So yes, we'll definitely focus on what are the next career steps which needs to be taken. For now, pat yourself. You have done a fantastic job. All of you have done a fantastic job. It wasn't easy. It isn't easy. A lot of your friends already dropped out. It's like wickets, right? First exam, 1 down, 2 down, 3 down, and there is no 4th paper. So you went through all of that. A lot of people skipped their attempts. A lot of people mentally failed already. Not even writing the papers you went through. So you have to respect your efforts. Please understand, before somebody else respect your efforts, you have to do it. If you yourself are not confident, if you yourself are not respecting it, why would somebody else, right? So that is what you have to do. So probably spend some time with your parents. I think they would have missed you, friends and anything, and relax completely. So I'll share the details of the next session. We'll do it with more frequency, and just waiting for the second group also to get over. Then we'll have further space to do things. Okay. So thanks for joining me today, and we'll catch up at least once in this week itself, must be for the exam happens, we'll do that. And further, I'll share the calendar. Okay. Thank you very much. All the best.
Thank you, sir.
Sure. Yes. Sure. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, most welcome.
Thank you, sir. And I want to ask you, can we do it a bit early, because I have to go outstation also, so I won't be able to do it from
When are you going? When are you going?
On the 9th, at the night of the 9th November. I'm going.
See, Rish, one thing you have to understand. There are two aspects to picking the right career. One, there is an elimination process which has to happen, because in this book itself there are 25 careers. If I have to extend everything, it will cross even 50. So one, you have to parallelly get eliminating. One, you have to start selecting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 20, 19, 18. So one is in the reverse order, one is you're adding it. So there has to be a list of 10 careers which you would not pick up. There is a list of 10 careers which you might pick up. Okay. So this is a very long process. One session is not going to do anything, but you have to understand there's it's a very long process. And I'll tell you, the ultimate outcome before you choose the one thing might even take 10 years also. Even if you're finding that after 10 years, you're still lucky. Like I cleared mine in 2012. And for me, the last 10 years has been experimentation of all the careers which I already loved. So even after filtering things, even after cracking careers which I wanted, I'm lucky that I built my own career track. Even after that, still you keep refining it before you get that perfection. So it's a very long journey. Since it's a 35-year journey, the experiment, everything will take a lot of time. So for this, you need not have any sense of hurry in terms of knowing something. There's nothing, so significant which you'll know in 30 minutes, then it will change everything for the next 30 years, no, 30 years for that matter. So it's a long-term process. So yeah, well, my responsibility
about the exam one. About the checking of exam, I understand not about the career. I'm not in a hurry of that.
Because that's the message which you shared to me. Okay. Fine.
No. I was asking about the checking of the paper part, the pass probability ratio. So because it's still
PPR,
in our mind.
If everyone is ready, we'll do it. Shall we do it tomorrow, sir? Let's have a confirmation today, sir. Sakshi, Dvesh, everyone, rest of you. Should we do it today, sir? Say tomorrow, itself?
Yes, sir. Tomorrow will be good.
We'll do it tomorrow. What time?
Maybe in the evening, if everyone is comfortable.
Start at 7 o'clock. 7 o'clock.
Or maybe in the day also.
Sir, I'll be appearing for elective, so
you can
be better.
I can focus on that. Anyways, I'll record it. We'll do it. Okay, this PPR will do it tomorrow. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, perfect. All right, got it. Thank you.
If I'm having time, I'll.
No, just focus on that. Even if you don't have time, you have to do a lot. How would you have time? Okay, you can watch the recording. Just focus on that.
Okay, sir.
All right, guys. Let's catch up.
It's up to you, sir. Whenever you are also free and whenever other students may feel, because
I told you clearly. I said I blocked everything else out of my calendar for the next 15 days. There are only two things. Both of them are from Board of Studies, which are extremely important and which has a very, very clear-cut impact on all of us also. So it's linked to our long-term vision. That is the reason why I went there. Apart from that, as I said, I'm just handling queries and I'm waiting for things to get to a logical conclusion, silently praying and silently worried. So I'm going through the same emotions as you're going. So don't worry about my time. Let's do it according to you. Probably shoot a message in the group. Probably others will also understand. If everybody is ready, we'll do it tomorrow itself. Okay, we'll do it. Chalo. Yeah.
Okay.
Good night, everyone. Bye.
Bye, sir. Good night.